Wow. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Say, thank you. We are, we as young lady between the age of 20, 25 and 35 who are prone to having children because they are in the childbearing age are what we are targeting in this uh, broadcast. Those are the people that we're going to target today. We're targeting them from the angle that they they may not know that attention deficit disorder or attention hyperactive disorder does not have no genetic testing when the child is in the womb of the mother. So the idea here is going to be challenging you guys to be proactive as you go into procreation. Stay proactive because if you don't stay proactive, what's going to happen is child will be born, and the stigma all along was that they feel that women and young girls who are who are suffering from attention deficit disorder or attention hyperactive disorder, they would try to suppress them naturally by telling them that they need to be docile. When a kid of a boy comes in and have that same symptom, they will say boys will be boys. That has been the stigma out there. And if there is a denial going on right now all across the world that even when you are at a very, very later age in life and you tell people that having, that you had attention deficit disorder when you were younger, nobody wants to accept that premise because they would just blind you as, especially if you are positively behavioral, they would just tell you that you were a genius, which is correct because you did not do anything immoral or fattening. And when a child start getting into what they call high level promiscuity, even at the early age of when they are not even 6 years of age, 5 years of age, because there are what they call some daughter heads, some little daughter heads with men out there or women out there who are molesting young young children. They do it even at a school level, at a primary school level, at a secondary school level, at the tertiary or the level, they still do that. At the workplace, in the gym, even in camping, when you are camping, or we've heard about a doctor who was a coach to Olympians and was having sex with them. We also have of like a producer who was making women to come to them unless they give in, they will not be given any position to be able to become a, a somebody who can act in a certain capacity. And some of those women may have just have taken it as it goes with the territory. It does not go with the territory. That's an abuse. The guy is in jail and stuff like that. So today podcast is out to say that there is need to address the attention deficit disorder out there. And I said, I'm going to be taking different subjects up and different time. And most of those subjects I'm taking up, they are things that are in my heart and I can address. I'm an authority on them because, personally speaking, I was born with a short attention span. All opinion highlighted in this type of clips are the opinion of Ogi Baba, that is the protagonist of the video that is getting ready to come out. So they are not in any way my opinion. They are subjective, and most of the arguments are objective. Most of the arguments are subject to haggling and bargaining, and they are subject to what you call, even as far back as what you call the devil advocacy in a nutshell. So let me say that I am bringing this topic up today because the entire platform of Ogi Baba, or what you call the remove pain point corporations, is sitting on the attention deficit disorder, because I would have loved to have taken that issue up when I was a toddler. I did. I took it up and my brain got kicked in and I was returned back to square one. They didn't allow me to go further on that. So the hashtag today is going to be hashtag attention deficit disorder, hashtag 25 to 35 years of age of young women who are of childbearing age, hashtag 13 years old to 19 years old, hashtag Ogi Baba, welcome to the TalkNet. We'll talk to you about you, and we thank you for all the viewing that you have done so far to keep the podcast, the Ogi Baba channel, to become a thing of beauty, which is a joy forever. So today we are calling to order those who are between the age of 25 to 35 who are childbearing age, and asking them that, for one reason or the other, don't never make the mistake of thinking that a child that is in your womb, that cannot be detected through genetic testing, whether they have, like in the case of autism and all that, that can result to where you can say whether you want to terminate the child, even though we know that the TOP people don't want you to terminate the child. They don't want you to have access to your body. But the thing is that, how do you can't detect it. Since you can't detect it, what's going to happen is you have a child, and the child is sitting there, and you start seeing the child behavioral. If they positively behavioral, the parents can be able to detect and say that they are positively behavioral, they do the right thing. The parents might be far left or far right. They will just stick at the middle there as a mixer, and they do the right thing. They're doing the right thing, so you will not bother them. You compare them with other children out there who are getting into violence, having sexual escapade, having a drug paraphernalia, involved watching, having sex with younger kids around them. So we are now warning the 25-year-old young men or young women to flag and be proactive when it comes to the issue of having children. As soon as, if you can't detect it, or if you detect it, you have to be able to put up a shenanigan for the child to be able to cope. Coping mechanism in terms of the fact that when they go to school, they're not going to be able to hang because their brain is helter-skelter as compared to the brain of the 1 out of 4 have been affected globally. 1 out of 4 people have this bottleneck. So be advised that what you need to do is to try and quickly start finding out what you're going to do to assist that child to be able to live a more stable life, because the society doesn't have no anything to allow the child to be able to survive in modern society, because everybody's pretty much on their own out there. If you have attention deficit disorder and you are in contact with the world is very cruel. CRUEL. The world is really very cruel. That I'm an epitome of it because I did follow that cacophony where my dad passed when I was a little kid. I missed him so much that when I went back, when I now find myself going to school, the teacher told us certain brainwashing item. I took it literally. I want to go ask questions when I got home. I didn't get no answer because I'm not my father. I'm not the parents of me. I'm not the parents of me. How about that for a cowboy? I am not your mother. That's what the society would put up out there and say, I'm not your mother. That's what the way the society is going to treat you. It's disdain. Society is going to treat you and say, you're not your mother. So when you come into the world, everybody expects you to be able to cross all your T and dot all your I. If you come across, unless you really come across people who are humanists, that will accept you for who you are, not judge you, which I did had that, and I did had more of those people who has a disdain for humanity too. So we're looking at what we call the far right thinker, and the far left thinker, and the middle there were the mixers. So I did cross, especially in Benin, where I grew up, in Edo State, or in Benin when I grew up. My people around me, the Edo people who were whether to my right, to my left, to the behind me, or to the front of me, on the top of me, or the bottom of me, I did not have a great time with them, save maybe one that I didn't really had that great time with, and I can mention them on the line because I'm going to try to bring them in. Someone like William Omorodion, me and him, we did connected, and we connect to the point where he would do just about anything for me, and I did connect with someone like Ed Brisky. I connected with him too, and those are people who I made connection with. I wanted to be able to go into their family and become accepted in their family. But those people were so busy with what you call polygamy or polyandry, where you are marrying more than one wife, or we are marrying more than one husband, and you have one at home, and you use one to eat and use the other one to use one husband to eat, and keep another one outside there for one for your pleasure and one for your treasure. The one for your pleasure is the one that you have at home, and the one for your treasure is the CEO of Benin River Basin Development Authority, which you won't mind giving into to have um, connect at the hip with them because you are looking for a way to get a job. That's not a Nigerian thing. It's an American thing because the two present the two present egalitarians, the two present old people who are currently at the limelight of running against themselves, who are in their, I think they call them spectatorial, because they are in their, they are now they are senile now. In their, it's not a bad thing that they are senior. They are senior. They have seniority, but that does not affect their policy, and it does not affect the way they would deal with issue. Because when you are the president of a nation, you don't do anything. All you do is have your stem cell put in place in such a way that when the push comes to shove, you're going to say, this is where I stand. And those people who are a policymaker, the technocrat, and those people, the those people who are going to be eating out of your plate will go out to have to go figure out what you see in your head, and they will come back again to you, and then you will be able to execute. But you are not going to be that stupid because you have what you call something that was already ingrained in you. If you're conservative, you're going to be trying to present some conservative principle. And the conservative principle that you have before you come to 77 years of age is already ingrained in you. And that's what I think Trump was doing with his lieutenants. When he came into office, he was fortunate to have got people being interviewed for who were very, very qualified, and they were Muslims, who were general that he surrounded himself with. But when it comes to listening to them, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. And those generals who have always had millions of people working under them in life and death situation did not want to start doing the wrong thing. And they had to abandon him. And all of them got into his HLRT list. And he got into their own HLRT list too. And Lauren started recycling to a lot of people. I have no doubt in my mind that he did have what you call a bottleneck that is just the same thing that we're discussing, except that they don't bring it out because they're afraid. Let me quickly say this. Do you know that I did seek assistance from Lancaster Care Center 2 days ago, and I went there because I wanted to follow up on some of the difficulty that I'm going through in terms of my sleeping pattern, my body clock, my stress level. I even started thinking that maybe I'm having PTSD, and the doctor told me no, that PTSD is a trigger. But PTSD can be a trigger. It doesn't have to really come from war. It can be a trigger that would, in my case, I would sleep, and I would, if for one reason or another, I move my body a little bit at all, my circulation, my body circulation, and my breathing apparatus will collide, and it will shut down and wake me up. And when it wakes me up, I start hearing what you call a surge protector. It's like an engine that is working. You turn a car on, it keep working, it don't stop. The engine will just start working. So when you turn it off, the engine will not go off. So my body will go into that mode. So what I did was that I would do what you call a homeopathic medicine and take what you call a deep breath, and then hold the breath for like a count of 20 minutes. When I hold that breath for 20 minutes, when I do it about 2 or 3 times, my body, the engine that is constantly pounding will stop. That's an anxiety. That's my anxiety level. My anxiety level really goes really way out of order because I kept coming up with trying to make the world a better place. And at every junction, There is always this idea of unfinished business, and when I always take something up that is in front of me, irrespective of what I've done in the back of me. And I think my issue was not related to when I was a little kid, when I had that attention deficit disorder with my brain being helter skelter. Then it came up, and then I went into a mode of 24/7 hard work, and I was able to overcome a lot of the hurdles. As I overcoming the hurdle, I moved further and went into a bigger school of life and executed on the success, and I find myself at the highest pinnacle of glory at any point T, at any time T, at any hour H, a PTO. I was there. So when I got there, I was now like, okay, I'm now successful, but I still saw that there was a glass ceiling that I wanted to break. So I decided to say, okay, I didn't let the success go into my head. And I said, I'm fine now. What am I going to do? That's how I was able to leave Nigeria to the United States. And so when I got here, I had to go back again to ground zero, because everything that I had to go back again to ground zero to go and start all over again. To which I have now got to the point now again. I've just successfully got to it now again. I've just finished the whole thing. So this is what you call a second comeback. So I'm now successful again now, because I have worked for 40 years to rework this thing, having to stay 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to beat that dead meat, to be able to get to the level where I am. So where I'm currently at right now is at the highest pinnacle of my glory. So all I need to do now is to return back to square one, to go and execute on the unfinished business. That's what I'm getting ready to do. So I am epitome of a success story that could have, if I didn't leave Nigeria, I wouldn't have been able to overcome that hurdle, because the system there, the way it was designed, is very cruel. It's cruel, and it institutes what we call unusual punishment. Cruel and usual punishment. So in the United States itself, it's the cruelest society with unusual punishment dished out at the 100% level of abstraction. People are going to be listening to me, and they will be listening to me, and people are going to really be proud of what I'm saying, because first of all, I'm well informed, and I have all my cylinder firing, because I'm firing from all angles. Anytime I'm saying one thing, I can come into a single word of a vocabulary, and that vocabulary will take me into another space. That's the reason why I am what you call debabulated. I am completely debabulated. I don't have. I don't have no. I don't have one spin. I have different spin to everything. So today, again, let me go back again and say that we are now calling those young ladies not to go through what I went through. Mothers does that, fathers does that. They don't want their children to go through what they go through, so they will have their children, and they want to make sure the child is going to do well. But if you go out there and find out the people who are able to, they never do well, or they do well, they are far and few and in between. It doesn't necessarily mean you can come from your father, your mother want you to do well. That's not going to happen, because you have what you call the zeros and one, which is what you call the zeros and ones, which is zeros and one, which is what the whole world is sitting on, technologically speaking. Zeros and one is what the computer are sitting on, whether at artificial intelligence level or in the non-artificial intelligence, which is quantum computer. It's also, they are sitting on that too, whether you call it religion, they're sitting on what you call the right and wrong, they're sitting on that on what you call culture, they're sitting on that on differences between countries, They are sitting on that, the difference between currencies of different nations. They're sitting on that, on greed or non-greed. It's a duality. It's a complete duality. So we are challenging, and we are, today's topic is not going to ever change. It's going to be, how do we keep the 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years of age, who are the smartest in their own right, whether the boys or the girls. But they are being, most of them are being railroaded into education. Some of them start doing stuff at a very early age, when they are at the age of 3, 4, 5, and then when they get to that 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, they now come out and start doing stuff that is, if they do it progressively into what you call the 25, the 20 to the 35, but by the time they are 40, they are now an iconoclast. That's how that works. But for someone like me, who I cut it off there and I move on, I did a little bit of shake up and that didn't work. Then I came back and then did a lot of hard work and I saw the light. It was the light of God, or the light of Heredity. Say, come and see the light of God. Come and see the light, oh, alone, alone. Heredity, see the light of Heredity. Heredity, see the light, oh, the light alone. Ugeki was the access card to Heredity Nokboko. Yeah, yeah. Come and see Heredity's light. Heredity Nokboko. Yeah, yeah. So what it is that I saw the light, and then I quickly move on. And when I find out, when I was now at the position where I was not thinking of anything other than being called to come and rule, because my place where I grew up is I call it the Red Mud City. It's a very, very archaic, old, traditional ruling class that are holding on to the power, and the people who are subordinate to them are good. They are lost. Oba Tokwe, he said, but that's a standalone. It's a standalone. It's good to that level, because just like Trump would say, he's an epitomizer of those who send the women under the bus. He's looking at his skin and saying that the caucuses, from the caucus mountain to now, he's not going to drop the ball on that. So all about talk where he said and all that, those apply, just like the cacophony of what you call Putin and Trump are connected at the hip, and they want to make sure that their race is not sent 6 feet under. They're the one that already sent everybody under, and they want to keep it going. And that's the reason why we are challenging them. That's the reason why I am working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to challenge the status quo. How about that for Cowboys? The Cowboys. So everyone loves the Cowboys. Cowboys. When everyone loves the Cowboys. And I wish Jerry Jones to retire and go into sunset on the Cowboys, because I think he's making a mistake there, the way he runs that place there. Because of the fact that he did have some oil money, and they came to come and buy the Cowboy, and he's there knowing that the way the ball bounces does not have anything to do with the way those boys are playing, or the way those coaches are coaching the people there. He would then think that his excreta does not stink. I don't know what he's doing there. He's in the front of everything. Got a yacht of almost 250 million yacht. He brought Nelson Mandela here and started beating the drum on him, because Nelson Mandela and all that were probably the one that got sponsored to become the president after the fall of Saigon, the fall of apartheid. So we, at this point in time, what Ogi Baba did, that he then came out and he worked really hard. And when he come to the highest pinnacle, which is the apex, and then was able to get into the federal government job, which he had 3 jobs at one time, questioned the audacity of why they want to have the mortgage of the future of those children under the bus. They didn't want to listen to me. So what I did was to say, I said, I do know that a lot of my classmates who left me behind in in primary 6 don't have to be they left me behind, went to schools like the upper school system, and then went in and then graduated and then went into the 4-year institutions. And after flunking primary school, I went to CSC to repeat it. I was able to get into a 3rd institution again. By the time I finished, I couldn't get into I flunked out repeatedly where people were leaving me behind. That's a key word there. I was missing them. I think that's where I developed the state scheme of saying, if you guys are leaving me behind at the first spot, you're leaving me behind at the second spot, you're leaving me behind at the 3rd spot, I don't need you guys no more, because you guys are leaving me irrespective of how much I love you guys, because we in this world are connected. We are what they call human beings we're all connected. We're all in this together. So, but then what I did was, okay, this one will leave me behind. So when at the time I was able to say, okay, my idea of being in the 4-year college was limited to how much I was going to be able to go back and take my school certificate examination. How would I remember that the secondary school living certificate that I took, the West Africa examination school certificate that I took in my college, where I got grade 3, because I was enrolled by my surrogate father to go and take the class, because I returned back from schools. They returned back from the science class of 6 more months that I went to go over there. If I had known that would have qualified me with my OND to be able to get into a university there, but that would have qualified me into what you call to bypass the prelim and get admitted. My sister did that, but she finished secondary school, went into OND, went into HND, then went into probably go take the test to be able to pass the common entrance examination into University of Benin, and then when in read law, I would have to have been able to go into the whole HND program at More Plantation at Ibadan, then come back and take the test again. That is really sucks, because what it is that the British system of education does not augur well for the educational system in Nigeria. The British system of education sucks. It sucks so bad that they want you to have upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. And the conflicting idea there is that if you are born to rule, which you can easily make happen through your parents, it's the same thing in America here. Here in America, we had a scandal that just went on where some women had their children, because they want to have an endowment of the institution of the university in which they were members of. They will go bribe somebody to put their children there. Some of them were busted, and some of them will now go to jail and stuff like that. It's the same thing all over. That class warfare. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to I didn't have the patience to go through all that. Not only that, as at the time when I was working at three of the job when I got out, all my counterparts were already in the university level, and I wanted a shortcut. And there was a propaganda machinery by the Western or the Eastern or the Northern world that you can build the system by having to take what you call a shortcut. As I was questioning the audacity of how they were going to be wasting the money over there, telling them not to do what do you call that? Don't be corrupt. Some trinket already got into my bank account, and I used that trinket to dance out. When I got here, I just found out that the destructive distillation of coal, where coal is turned to bezoar and turpentine, was also that was instituted there. And when I was a little kid, is the same destructive distillation of coal by the white supremacists or the white nationalists who have already sent those people over there under the bus, and they had their leg on their neck here. I did said that yesterday in one of my summation. They have it on their neck here, and they are doing that. I mean, just imagine what is coming on from the border. We already have the numbers are pretty high, so they already have almost like 7 million people coming from all over the world that are sitting there in Mexico to come in. What it is that they are now using they are now trying to put a system together where those people of African descent who are in the belly of the beast, those mega kids who are at the belly of the beast, those poor people who are members of the Caucasian race, the poor people, poor white, poor black, poor Mexicans who are inside the system, and those who are legally here but have one way or the other looked at them from the angle of saying, you are here, and as such, we need to do what we call give you some enough rope to hang yourself. After you hang yourself, they just keep you in that rope there. They're not going to take it off. It's called what they call that neck. That knot that they put on your neck as I don't know, remember the name. When I remember the name, I'll put it there. They'll just give you enough rope to hang yourself, and you are sitting there. So they are now saying that those who are coming in are going to be giving them what you call enough of everything that they need, giving them voter registration card, giving them what you call the working permit. They are busing them into the large cities, in the central cities, and they are putting them in a lot of, they are hooking them up with the faith-based initiative, and they are giving them the jobs, are just hiring them because they are legal right away. But those who were already in the system for so long are now having to be given enough rope to hang themselves, whether it's a mega kids or whether those illegal alien. And these are things that is going to be part of my my submission, and I'm going to stay with them because I'm going to be beating the dead horse right, left, and yonder. I'm not going to stay out of it because these are what I have in my coconut head. I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to be telling you guys that this is what I have in my coconut head, and I'm going to keep it on there. So the thing is that as I was trying to see whether I can have been able to go into the Nigerian university, time was not my best ally. Time was not my best ally. Time was not my best ally, and I said, okay. I was able to secure an admission through my family friend, people like Dr. Yariva. He has his brother Phillips that was there. He has another of his brother who already returned back, who was working for NNPC after he returned back. So I came in to WIU. When I landed the Ellis Island, I find now that I was shocked of to see how that I was getting a lot of notes from my African American uh, brethren who would just give me a nod. Why the other people of other tribe whose color were not black were not part of my system. So when I saw a lot of the Nigerians that I was dealing with, they got their head buried in the sand because all of them were sending me a signal. You need to go get a green card. You need to go get a green card. So you need to go get a green card. You need to become a citizen so that you can pay you so that they wanted me to game the system because they themselves were gaming the system. The system knows that. That's the reason why people like Trump and all that are saying what they're saying because they know what is going on. That foreigners are gaining the system. It's not an American gaining the system. Foreigners coming into Nigeria gain the system there too. So this is a global gaming of the system. There is what you call the zeros and one. Gaming, they're not really gaming the system. They're just doing what they got to do. So at the time I got there, I was seeing that they were down pushing me to go and game the system. I said, no, that's not why I came. I came here because I wanted to get a bachelor's degree. So I was taken aback very quickly with an advantage Loyo Amayo, an advantage Ogibaba, where I had the fortune of having a woman who wanted something good for the child that he already had for another Nigerian hanging out with me. The Nigerian probably left her behind, went into another place to go and work and come back. So when I came in, she was hanging out with me, and it was very, very nice because there was nobody in WIU that was in a monogamous relationship, the one I was having with her. I tried as much as I can to tell her that what I'm hearing out there is that they want me to become who I don't want to become. But if you want to become part of that process, be advised that your reward is in heaven. And people don't want that. They don't want their reward to be in heaven. They want to eat now. They want to eat like if they're gonna eat, they're gonna die now and go build houses as if they're gonna live forever. That's a Socrates quote and unquote. So she didn't want to be part of that. And I was having hell because at the time I landed, I was seeing how most of my Nigerian people who were in the campus there were going out there to go and start going to farm and start plucking corn to go and feed because there was no money coming from Nigeria. The bursary award, the scholarship that brought them in could cut off. The only people who were doing good were the one whose father were already wealthy over there. A case in point, there was a guy who one of my classmates, I think he just passed now. Yeah, he just passed. I remember I saw him, he just passed. But he was helping another guy out whose father was paying his school fee. So he was pretty much his tutor, which I did use the tutor again, dancing back to another 20 years going forward on it. But when I was back in school there, it got thrown me under probation. I started crying like a little biatch. Then I went back in there, dig it out. The money that I brought in, I was worried about it, and I was wanting the cash infusion from Nigeria, but I wasn't getting no response from Nigeria. So I just dig in. The money I had was for a whole year. I paid almost rent for a whole year and pay and conserve my money. I couldn't get a job in the first semester because, first of all, the system will not don't want you to work, or all they want you to do is have what you call in the second semester a work study of 40 hours. And I was saying, no, to hell with that. So all I did, I just said, so no. I went out there, got the work study, went out there, started working for the student cafeteria. I went out there and got a job in town with Red Ox. So you got to take. So I went there, I got a job. The job was, at that time I was having 3 jobs. So I now felt a little bit better, but I don't have the time for school. You win some, you lose some. But in my second semester, I was able to build the grade point up. But they still sent me a letter of suspension that your grade point is not up to second grade, it's not up to second level. So I went back in there again. At the 4th semester, I was able to put everything to rest, where I was able to get to 2.0 average. My thing is that how I wish I was able to get help from Nigeria at that point. People I left behind over there could have been able to help, but they had themselves, got their head buried in the sand. So as soon as I couldn't do anything, if you owe the school, you can't go further. So I just bounce out. Owe money in my rent, owe money to get the transportation to be able to come to the south, owe money going forward, and I came back to the south and settled in and did 2 jobs, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Matter of fact, I even had a meltdown where sometimes my eyes will not close. My eyes will just keep opening and it doesn't close. I couldn't blink because I would go to work at 7 in the morning, take the bus to places like Registry Hotel. I would walk till 7 in the morning, bus buffing the lobby. Then I would then go back to home and take a shower and then return back to the restaurant where I'm going to be working. And I was working with Ben Brown then. I worked in the restaurant. At one point in time, my eyes just did not close. So, but I did have another thing there that scared me. It was the fact that one gay man was eyeballing me. He would just blink. He started winking at me. And I got scared. I said, if I start talking to this guy, people are going to say I'm gay. And I wasn't gay. So I said, no. I didn't make no mistake. I think I got fired from that job too. Because of one reason or the other. I don't know why. Or I quit the job. What was it? I quit it and then concentrated on more places where I was now working with the bank. I was working with the public bank cafeteria. And before you know it, the manager there, the director of food and beverage, Ray Randolph, wanted me to become the big kahuna. But I was not interested in that. I was interested in just making enough money to pay what I owe behind, to pay ahead, to pay the transportation that I used in getting out of there, to pay the rent that I was owing back there, pay ahead, and have money to be able to buy my ticket to go back there. And I had a car. I think I planned that car. I buy that car. So when I buy the car, I left. When I got to school over there, I fell in love with the woman when I got there. And that's bad matter. If I went in Dallas here, I was still going through the issue of a girl. That was the first time I had a girlfriend who were equal with me in terms of give and take. She canceled me out. But she canceled me out, and I was not ready to settle down at that point because I was going to go back again to school. By the time I got there, something that happened there was that there was a one way or the other, I could have been able to use the money that I used in buying my car because I had insurance on it when the thing went on the rampage. So at the time I got back there, I was thinking that she didn't really have me in the back of her heart. So I doubled down when I got there. Doubled down. My school was not getting too bad. Then I was able to swing the graduation after staying out of school for about for summer, and did had what I was now working for, what you call another restaurant, the same restaurant that I worked for before leaving there. I was working for the same restaurant, which I took my friend into when we were interviewing. I passed the interview. He couldn't pass it because he was like, he didn't know what to say, but I know what to say. So I got that. Then I was working there, and I was working at Taco John, and I was also doing a discipline for that summer. Then this university itself, the international program, knowing that I was gone and be back, knowing that I know what I'm doing now, because at this time, all the Nigerians there were kissing the rear end of the international program director. Mrs. Davan, Mrs. Davan, Mrs. Davan, Mrs. They were, I mean, it was just so bad that when I came back, Mrs. Davan just told me, we're going to give you a scholarship for 30, I think it was 300. They gave me a scholarship for 300, indigent scholarship. At the same time, too, I had the family of Adegoke, whose parents were paying their school fees in the United States, who had a car and they needed the engine knocked, and they wanted to fix the engine. And I had a credit card to be able to. I told them I put the credit card on there, and I gave them the credit card, and they paid for the repair and gave me the cash back. Adding the 300 cash, money from the detachment, the money that I was making from this restaurant here, the money that I was making for the restaurant here, I was able to pay ahead one more semester. So when that semester finished, I had zero balance. Then I enrolled for the last semester. The school that I was supposed to have done with 4 semesters, I ended up doing almost like 6 or 8 or 7 semesters because my brain could not carry me because of my attention deficit disorder. Can I go on the record to say that I didn't know what I was doing? I still don't know what I'm doing. I don't care about that. You don't have to know what you're doing, so long as you can tell it out to the people anywhere you go. How you doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Are you okay? No, I'm not okay. Are you good? No, I'm not good. I mean, you don't have to know what you're doing in this world. 99.99999% of humanity doesn't know what they do. The only people that know what they are doing are in the category of Jesus Christ, in the category of Allah, in the category of Jesus Christ, in the category of Muhammad, and the category of Ogyeki. Those are the access gateway to the omnipotent, omnipresence, and omniscience. In quote, Omi. So I just came back, graduated, fell in love, and the person I was falling in love with, I could have understood why the person was smart. The person was considered to be smart. She told me that. She told me that when she was in school with her brothers and sisters, they consider her to be a smart cookie. There are people like that. People like Einstein, they're smart. But they are smart, and they're also good people. Most presidents of the nations, most of them are smart. They're also good people because it takes that good to be good, to be around your counterparts. Then it takes smart to be able to leave your counterparts that you are hanging out with and then move into the next cadre of those people who are smart, that are that call the shots on the top there. There are those people who are smart and far and few and in between. They can be the CEO of every nation. They can already be the owner of a church. They could also already be in power. So those people are the one that you're going to have to be able to connect with. That shows you are nice. That smartness is what gets you there. That goodness of nature is what gets you in the wetting of the grants of the people. So you got to have all of them. People like Obama, people like all those presidents. The only president I think that has not been smart has been Trump. He's not smart. He's just a dumb buddy. He's not smart. Because if he was smart, he shouldn't have done the insurrection. That's not smart. He would have, if he had come out of if he had gone, if he had lost the election and become what you call an antagonist of Biden, who beat him down, hands down, because of the COVID-19, in which the Omini sent to him to test him out. Because that's the only mistake he made throughout the time he was there, because the Omini was sent to him. But instead of him to be there and just ride around and get it in his own side of town and getting it, he didn't do that. He started coming up with all kinds of conspiracy theory, bashing, calling it what you call kung fu flu. He was pointing his finger at different people. Himself got the disease. His child got it. His wife got it. That will tell you how much unhinged he was. So at the time, he sent almost 1 million people to the gulag and spent $6 trillion to try to avert the situation by virtue of the money he was putting up in terms of how much he was going to use to do the COVID vaccine on the fast track. Then he also had the issue of spending at one point or the other a trillion on COVID-19 in terms of the stimulus packages. And then the government, the people who are in power were taking those loans, those PPP loans, and small businesses were getting loans. You will be very surprised that IBM, Microsoft, Google, and all these big corporations had that loan one way or the other. They had those money, and they have been accused of that. There's a woman who were accused of that, she had an estate. So the money came in as a way of cutting her grass. 20 million came into the coffer. Not only that, a friend of mine told me, who was an accountant, that people who got that money, I think they had almost like 800 million to counteract the waste that was going to happen. That's not going anywhere, because they will continue to arrest people for the next 30 years and sending people to jail because the system is very, very sophisticated. The system is dense, sophisticated. If you are out there trying to game the system will catch up with you. You can't get away with it. That's exactly what got Trump, because he was trying to game the system. That's 8 million of money people that were staying in his hotel because they were trying to get a favor from him. Stuff like that. But the only mistake I think he made, not the mistake he made before he got into his administration, as a businessman, I don't think those things really matter. Or whether he went to bed with other people and all that, I don't think it mattered. The only thing that mattered was that he was not a human being when it came to suing to be protecting the Constitution of the United States of America, and when it was time to give in and then send the Constitution to 6 feet under, he wanted to do that because he was not thinking. Everybody was telling him don't do it. He don't want to listen. He just did it. That's what you call gira, 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 gira. He was acting gra, 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 gra. Before you know it, he's going to be indicted because he doesn't have immunity. This is different from when Putin gave him a right to the first time when he beat Hillary because Putin didn't like Putin is didn't like the democratic institutions. Putin is a dictator. It's like Hitler, so he didn't like the humanity. He wants to destroy it. That's part of the destructive decisional code in which he was doing when he first of all annexed Crimea. Now, as soon as the second president came into power, he wanted to show him that he doesn't like him. Then he quickly started preparing to go in and annex it. And he was telling them, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to do. On the long run, he said he wants to denazify the Crimea. Whereas the guy sitting there is a Jew. How do you do that? Denazify. I don't even know how you denazify. The only thing you have going for him was that he had the luxury of not having the nukes that Ukraine already gave up way back. Which if he didn't give up that nuke up, because Ukraine was, after breaking away from the old Soviet Union, had a nuke. But they already gave it up because the Westerner was, they do that all over the world. They don't want nobody to have power. They mess up so bad. Certain stupid things that America have done was part of that. Like bringing Buhari to become president because Obama himself was probably more sympathetic with the Muslim Brotherhood, stuff like that. And railroad that guy in there who was using what you call Boko Haram and the people that came from what you call the Gaddafi, after they killed Gaddafi. I mean, this list going on. They killed Osama bin Laden too. I mean, I'm not saying that in terms of the word kill in that context. I'm using it as a word, how hurt I am. It destroyed those people. I don't like that. So what I'm trying to say is that what I did was that I came back to Texas, then figure out that haven't been able to go through the difficulty of how I was going to be able to make my life much easier for that 1982 to 1986 when I was able to pull my first undergraduate off. I felt very, very much like I'm not going to, I wanted a solution to my money problem. And I projected into the present tomorrow that I was going to be an industrialist, which I'm now an industrialist. A lot of people who have been in the game forever, who have got their eye fixated in money, or they were philanthropists, they were instituting prostitution, they were, I mean, all they were doing was just, they were just out there. I didn't buy into all that. They are now, they bottom out. How can I say that? I don't know how to say that. They bottom out and they see me coming up. And I'm getting ready to take off while they are getting ready to plateau out. So I came in, walked, I couldn't pull it off against it. It was part of it's a conspiracy theory that I didn't know what I was still doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm not going to lie. I was just thinking that I could pull it off by working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And my money kept going to the education. 90% of it will go into education, but 10% of it will go into humanity. And I was spending money on humanity, just like that, what do you call that, tithing that you do in church. I do that. So I kept doing that. Then, after a while, I found me in the position where I would have loved to have settled down with the person that I've ever fell in love with, and the person wasn't ready to do that. So what I did was to say, okay, I'm going to have to go back and go and do what you call career and life planning. That's when I went in and then into more school, and I did a 4-year program and graduated with it, and now I'm getting ready to use it. As I was getting ready to use it, I started pouring more money in there, and none of them were moving forward because money is the root of all evil, and people are really stupid when it comes to money. But I didn't know that. I'm just knowing now, so I could put money in there until I said, okay, what I'm going to do is going to be find out when everything bottom out, why is it that everything bottom out? I said, I already had an epiphany 4 years before that time that when you read the book, like Obama wrote books, that was a license for them to be able to move to the level. So I would say, okay, that was a license, and as such, I will need to write a book. Then I rebounded to where I would then retain some of people who have retainer fees that were working side by side with me to help me to see whether I would write, and I would give it to them. They would then type it out, and I would then write a book from it. As I was doing that, it was garbage in, garbage out. So I said, oh, no, 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 no. And I had another person to come in to help me to do editing of the material that I already got on the flash drive. And the person who didn't pull it off either. Even though the person came to me at one point and said, just pay me buku. And when you give me buku, I'll go do it. And they went in, they couldn't do it either. To the point where I then had a second foray with them and give them buku again with a manuscript that is sitting in their house right now. And they couldn't put that off. Then I had another person that I had a manuscript with them, and I gave them buku too. And when I'm talking about buku, not necessarily as a big amount of money because I wasn't working in the corporate environment. I wasn't in the C-suite. I was waiting table. If you wait table and you give somebody $500 to help you to write a manuscript in their own words, I mean, that's a bunch of money. That's how much money I've spent right here and all. And I was also spending money to see whether I could put the development environment together based on the research that I did of how software engineering under D.ESC was supposed to be seeded. And I would pay people like in India to have what you call, let's do, what they call them, rational method. When the rational method comes in, I will say, okay, we're going to do what you call object-oriented analysis and design. In the object-oriented, well, let's do what you call actors, actresses, and we'll do all that. At the time, you would then tell them how much it's going to cost. They'll quote me like $5,000. I would think that maybe I'll give them 1,500. When it's time to pay the next amount of money, I may not have it. Those people will not go further. So I have a lot of system analysis fundamentals that even resulted from what they call them, I think, in terms of how to simulate, to overcome what was the biggest hurdle for the migration of the e-commerce, e-device, electronics from the old brick and mortar to the new economy. When the contemporary people who are now successful, like Facebook, Twitter, become successful, this to say that you can fall back into the days on when Microsoft, IBM, Oracle, Salesforce were successful, or a company from Germany. So all of those companies that were old, what you call legacy institutions, now we're still hanging in there, and they came up with a new paradigm shift of those who were going to move in brick and mortar. I would also know what they were doing. I would have loved to be part of that. A cousin of mine just told me that, because when I sent a venture capital dossier out, there's somebody who helped me to wrote it, which is my cousin, sent it to his own brother. And the brother, when he came to the United States here, was telling me that you know what you were doing there. But I'm glad I didn't go into all that. I'm glad I didn't start a business there, because I was trying to use the platform to help HIV/AIDS out. So tomorrow recording is going to be on HIV/AIDS. Today recording is on attention deficit disorder, which I already recorded, which I'm going to upload to a platform. I'm going to upload it as a podcast. What I'm doing here now is what you call live screening. I'm going to see how to do something much better here. So where we are right now is that I'm releasing a novel, and I'm going to I'm going to send snippet of the novel to all people who are sitting on my data warehouse. And I tell them, when the book comes out in Amazon, go and buy it. After buying it, you read it, go and then find your cycles of friends, and then send me how many people would love to have that book in their library. And those numbers you're going to send to me, we're going to take that number on the long run, and we're going to put the whole number together and send it into one of the 5 major publishers like Hatchet. And those people will take my book and publish it, irrespective of the fact whether they're sitting on Amazon, doesn't matter, or people who are bought it. They will take it up so that they can have a book that can now be compatible to being able to be showcased in the form of a movie, like purple color, or the Word Game, or whatever movies out there, or documentaries out there, The Passion of Christ and all that movie by all that. We're going to try and showcase it, and then we'll get that number back. And when they're giving me that number, I wanted to go start sending more money my way to smoothing me out, so that I will start doing what I'm currently doing, which is doing the work full time, because I've already had 2 people back at this point in time. What they did was that, in the past 8 weeks, which is the landmark is just today, in the past 8 weeks, they have given me enough money where I am now, the money that they've given to me would have been if I were at work. If I get a check, which I was making every 2 weeks, my check was minimum of $350 or $500 a month, a week, for 2 weeks, which is like $1,000, which puts you to about $16,000 a year or so. The money that is coming out there is just like if I had a single check paid to me, making $500 for 2 weeks, which is $250 a week. That money that they are paying me gave me enough confidence not to be worried. And I also put the money, hedge it into the publication, which I already put a lot of money in 2023. I already put almost like so much money into that place, even though my back was against that wall in that year, where I had run-ins with the former landlady who owns the property, defrauding me, and then I had to pay rent twice. I was getting hacked. I had police officer knocking on my door. They call it a SWAT. I don't think that was a SWAT. I think it was when, as soon as I started releasing my video in Dallas, and the police, they have a way of combing the internet to find out who is who out there, and they saw that who is who, and they came in to come and knock around 8 or 9 in the evening to come in, and they came in, and then they said, do you have anybody with you here? Do you have firearms? All that kind of question, and they came in and they left. That's not the first time it's happened. That's the third time it's happened. The last time it happened, there was using of what you call the robot arm to break into my door and came in and then left me a pile of 4-5 pages and said that we didn't see amphetamine, we didn't see that, and then took away a lot of my documentations, like my driver's license, my bank card, and my paycheck. They're going to go form a profile on me. Maybe in the future, when I'm running for the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they will start doing what they are doing to Tinubu now, that Tinubu is a certificate forger. Tinubu is this. That's not true. All those things you're saying about Tinubu, I don't believe that. What I do believe is that he did come into the United States dingly. He came into the United States dingly. Dingly means that he may have gone into the American school with some dingly, do what he had to do to be able to get his degree. But at the time he graduated, Accenture, which is the accounting firm of Otto Adasi or Adasi Consultant or PricewaterhouseCoopers, did put a bounty on his head. And the bounty they put on his head is not different from what Abbas, the former king of Badagry. Why people do that, they put a bounty on your head so that you can go back there and destroy your people. That all the foreigners that have come to America that went back home to go back to Africa or that went back to their country where they are coming from, whether it's Russia, whether it's Mexico, whether it's Argentina, whether it's Nigeria, the white establishment put a bounty on their head to go back and go and destroy without them knowing, because they themselves are worried about individual. And the people who are putting the bounty on his head put it on their head, knowing that they are individualistic and they are greedy, they are compromised. They put it on their head, and they will go back there. So they put a bounty on his head. All the Nigerians that have gone back to Nigeria, like people like Folonsho, people like Ajalika, people like Bayo, or people like Buhari, who went into the U.S. War College, are being put on a bounty. They had a bounty on their head to go and destroy their people. And when they get there, anybody who is at their periphery is a fair game. Some of them will cling to the religious fundamental, like what Buhari did. He was more into the Fulani Muslim thing. Because the only thing I know about apart from being in the war college, is that when there was a time when he was in one of these conferences with the United Nations, as somebody who was representing Nigeria, when it was time to vote for somebody who was going to have a better office, he voted for a foreigner that was not a Nigerian. Why? They were Nigerians that were valuable because they were Muslim, because he wanted to protect his Muslim heritage. I don't fault him for that. I don't fault him for doing that. Just I am trying to protect Ogeki, African traditional religion. You can fault me for that, and you can kiss me kiss my rear end for that, but I don't have it against them because individually speaking, people are going to have what you call an agenda of what they're going to do. That agenda is their agenda. It doesn't really matter what the agenda is, but everybody have a different agenda at different time. It's called a different agenda at NPT, which is normal temperature and pressure. I'm going to try to see where I'm at now. And like I said, I already got 1.5 hours. That's not bad because I got some more other things to do. At this point in time, we know that there is no recording going on this evening for the family dinner because this is Saturday. You guys can download all this and then listen to it. Give me your feedback, your questions, answers, arguments. I'll be ready to take all that. But on behalf of my colleagues at the distro, I wish you all a great Saturday evening. I wish all my people who are in the diaspora a good Saturday evening. I wish you all the best of luck. And I wish you all a great February Black History Month. And I wish you all the very best in the Valentine that you guys are going to be involving yourself in the next week. On behalf of my colleagues from the distro, I want to say, may God continue to bless the United States of America, a country where people are very important. I thank you.